Yeah. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Come on.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Shut up,
are you?
Vicky. I'm talking.
You paused.
I did
Dean.
pause just so I could
I
yell
do
at
get
you.
to talk when you pause.
Just so I could yell at you.
It was a longer pause than usual. I thought, oh, is everything okay?
No, it's not. We've been deboonked.
We were deboonked.
Deboonked by the DEBOONKED inbred loser.
Yep. Yes. And Moonshot.
Yeah, Tweedle Bland and Tweedle Homeless Ian. I'll let them decide which is which.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something. I was in the chat of Finstream, and Well Read finally notices I'm there. And he's just like, I debunked Vicky. And I'm like, oh Lord. Really? Okay. I don't really want to have to watch this.
But we
And
did.
But we did. And it was before I was, it was on Saturday, I think. Saturday. And I had to, I had to get ready for work. So I got I was reading the transcript real quick before I went off to work. And I was like, oh Lord, these guys. And here we are.
You got us, Well Read.
You got us.
But not really. You're an idiot. And we'll show you why. Let's just jump into it.
Yeah.
So apparently there's this debate about why is Comicsgate Shadowband on Indiegogo?
Yes, there is that debate.
Do you know this, TJ? Do you know about this?
Yeah. Okay. I know all about it.
So a recent stream by Vicky and Dean posits that is because
Pause.
Well, let me at least say what they said first.
But before you even do it,
okay.
I was sitting here playing God of War Ragnar. I can't pronounce that shit to save my life.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. And I clipped in waiting for Well Read. I clipped in for like 2 to 3 seconds. And in 2 to 3 seconds, I think Vicky made a fucking point. But go ahead, I'm listening. And I don't even rock with Vicky like Tom. I like you.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna pause there, Vicky. I guess we're probably wrong. If
TJ thought we made a point.
Sorry, guys. That's the end of the stream.
Sorry, it's over.
Go home.
More. Yeah.
So they have examples, but we can find holes perhaps. So they think it's because all
spoiler, they didn't. But they thought they did.
All the campaigns that are Shadowband are not new creators. They're people have multiple campaigns, and they think it's because they promote their new campaigns in the old campaigns updates, and that technically is against the terms of service.
That and having your in-demand open for more than 3 months.
No, that's not what I ever said. Never said that it was because your in-demand was open for more than 3 months. It's that your in-demand isn't allowed. You're not allowed to go into demand if you think that your campaign, or if you plan on filling your campaign more than 3 months after the fulfillment date promised to your original backers, which is why your, original fulfillment date, you can change it all you want, but the original date is the important one, and when your campaign's actually due.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, try
But,
listening better, well read.
If they can't even start off with like the, actual facts of what I said, then maybe they got the rest of it wrong too.
Spoiler, they did.
All right.
Yeah, and they think
years.
Right, like Shinobi
Yeah, well,
Sasquatch.
regardless of that, they think this is an algorithm that turned on around October. So that's why, people that
we don't think that we know it based off of, the fact that they purchased that AI.
And something suddenly happened.
Yeah, like what do they think the AI was purchased for?
Shits and giggles? Because companies just like spending money on
AIs that don't
AI
do
they're
anything.
never going to use. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we know for sure they bought the AI that is specifically made to prevent fraud.
Or at least contracting with the company that has the AI.
That's what
I know that's what you meant, but let's be precise so that well-read can't.
They are purchasing the services of that AI.
Much better.
Previously it didn't affect, and now it is affecting.
Dean and Vicky, Tweedledum and Tweedlegay. I'll let them debate which is which.
I mean, it works pretty well for
our
many
masters of AI. They know algorithms and models. They've cracked the code. Everybody, they've seen the Matrix.
I mean, they made a convincing case, but if you start looking into it, you find holes, and then you're like, if it's an algorithm, why are there holes?
Yeah,
it's just Boolean equations and algorithms. I mean, it's not that it's like using fucking Google. It's not that difficult to understand, right? These aren't self-aware AIs that have to run on mega supercomputers that don't exist. These are just spider bots.
Yeah.
And they have a if A then B, if B then C. It's like and ors. 111 or 101. That's all they do.
I agree. He's also homeless.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vestige, you like Vestige, right?
Yeah, I got all the books.
Vestige 3 is now Shadowband on Indiegogo. Did you know that?
See, you were asking for panties in a bunch, and you got J Money.
If we got Panboy here, I'd love to have him because he might know something about this.
Hey, what up, baby? What up, Jay?
What up, baby?
Two up, two down, baby. All day, 757.
They just
all right, let's get Moonshine. Let's allow Moonshine to get his.
As far as I can tell, Row and Vestige have not violated terms of service in any way. They do not promote future campaigns and previous campaigns, so that can't be it. Now, they were late on Vestige 1, but that's many, many years ago. And generally, I think they ship within 3 months of their estimated date. They're pretty good with that. So I don't know why Vestige would be shadowbanned for any violations of terms of service.
Vestige 3, specifically.
I think.
Well, it's actually really funny. Like, you would think if he's going to make that point, he would have at least looked into it.
I don't know, maybe even, shared screenshots of how I'm wrong. That's not the first one in there.
Yeah,
one before that. Oh, missed one. Nope, there it is. So,
give it a second.
Okay.
Jesus, Vicky.
Jesus, Dean, you're just slow. All right. This was my very first tweet to Row. Back in September of 2019. Vestige 1 launched in April, I think, of that year. And I just kind of enjoyed busting Rose balls every month about the fact that their campaign was in violation of the community guidelines and TOS. And the way that was, I never explained it on Twitter, but they weren't up, and it was a minor violation, granted, but I was busting Rose balls. War Campaign would freak the fuck out, and it was fun. They weren't updating Vestige 1 monthly, which is actually required, by the way, in the community guidelines. They want an update every month on your campaign. And so I started giving them a hard time.
Yeah, but that's not really, I guess.
Yeah, that's,
Oop.
yeah. Okay, we can go on to the next one, Dean. Dean's getting Dean's boomerang back here? Just so you all know.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Uh-huh. Actually, I am, guys.
He is completely and totally. He'll figure it out in just a second. Anyway, so why don't you just open the PowerPoint?
I'm just joking, guys.
Yeah. So this went so much more smoothly the first time around, Dean. Anyway, Vestige did do, well, Black Dragon did promote campaigns in their updates. As soon as Dean gets this going.
There it is, guys.
That's the guidelines again about not promoting. We shared that during our stream last week. Right. So the next one, because we might as well just skip forward. This is the original. This is Vestige 1. All right. These are just the first 2 updates on Vestige 1. The first one, is that the first one? No, I think that might be, yeah. So you had, no, that's not the first one, Dean. You skipped a page.
No?
Are you sure? Oh, maybe I put them backwards. So they had 5 updates on this campaign, and every single one of them, including the very first update on their campaign, you can go ahead and flip to the next one, had some sort of promotion of either Vestige 2 or Bullet Maker. But they weren't ever promoting future books in their updates.
You know, it's funny that it's every update, and Moonshine makes this point specifically.
Yeah. And they did the same thing.
And like all he had to do was just look at any of the updates.
Yeah. They did the same thing with Vestige 2. Vestige 2 had, I think, like 8 updates. Almost, and I think 2 of them dealt strictly with Vestige 2. And the rest of them all mentioned Bullet Maker and Vestige 3. You can go ahead and flip it to the next one. This is Rogue Kabir's, Black Dragon. This is their campaigns, the 4 campaigns that they've run on Indiegogo. So you had Vestige 1, Vestige 2. The last one wasn't another Vestige book. It was Bullet Maker. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is I think the one and only update to Bullet Maker. Yes. They are where they announce their fulfillment and promote Vestige 3. But keep in mind, according to Moonshine, who, really, really liked being in War Campaign, Roe didn't do nothing. They never promoted anything else. They never cross-promoted any campaign in Vestige at all.
It's just really weird because all he had to do was look at any update.
Any fucking update. For all 3 books, they cross-promoted, right? Vestige 1 was like 6 months late. Vestige 2 was 4 months late. And I'm going by, if Indiegogo says 90 days is late, I'm going to call it late, right? And what they've done, if you actually go and look at their previous campaigns, is they've hidden all of the perks, right? You can't delete a perk on Indiegogo once somebody has backed it, but you can hide it. So if you go back to their campaigns, there are no perks visible. You can't see what they were charging for the previous book, but you also can't see what day they were due. So you can't compare. You can't go as an informed backer and look at when the books were due and then look at their updates and see when they fulfilled them. You just can't, right? You have to catch that promised data fulfillment while the campaigns are still open, because they as soon as they close the campaign, Roe hides all of the perks.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling Indiegogo doesn't like that very much either, which may have contributed to why Vestige is Shadowband. I mean, that's just my own speculation, but there is a lot of talk in the community guidelines about transparency, whether that's being completely and totally honest with your backers in the comments, whether it's being honest in your updates, it's actually updating your campaign on a regular basis, monthly. So when I heard Moonshine say that Vestige and Roe was never in violation of terms of service, all I could think about was that fucking tweet I sent in September of 2019 when I started busting his ass over it.
All I could think of is,
God, he's a dipshit.
Moonshine's kind of a tard.
And I know that Ethan said he's going to give you something.
But this is a brain trust.
It might be
TJ, Jay Dalla, Moonshine, and Well Read.
Yeah.
Combined, they have the IQ of one person.
Reasonably late, but you're going to fucking get it. I will say that in that man's defense.
But nothing's ever late, man. Nothing has ever been late. You can't be late if you're crowdfunding, man.
Okay. What is late? I mean, what is time? It's if not just a construct built by man, am I right?
Am I right?
So nothing's ever really late, if time happens, it happens. And it's always happening. So yeah.
Yeah,
nothing's ever late. It's just not ready yet.
TJ had mentioned Dan Fraga, because his Black Flag book was due January of 2021. Yeah, the one that still hasn't happened. And I know because it was due the same time as Cash Grab, right? And Jay Money apparently lives fairly close to Dan Fraga, and they've hung out together. And when TJ starts talking about, I know Ethan's gonna deliver. It's gonna be later as fuck, but he's gonna deliver. you know, I don't know about dudes like Dan Fraga, and man, J Money, he's the guy that bought the bunny suit that Dan Fraga wore for months on stream, right? And fucking Jay Dollar got so mad. I've held pages of Black Flag in my hands, and I'm like, yeah, well,
none of the backers have.
none of the backers have, dude.
What was the point of
Ever. Yeah.
about Ethan getting banned? Didn't you say he sent out an update and then the ban happened right
Yes,
after?
so he promoted Rainbow the Brute and his second chance
From
CyberFrog, which technically would violate terms of service.
From the Wreck Planet campaign?
Hold on, guys. Vicky's having issues. I think so. No, it's you. Definitely you. No. No, you definitely didn't.
From a second chance Wreck Planet, yes.
Oh,
and
second chance.
So promoting another campaign in your updates is technically against the terms of
Do y'all realize? Do y'all realize what?
Yes, we do realize, TJ. No, Vicky, I'm definitely not. It's definitely you. You're Boomerang. So anyways, guys.
Anyways, dude.
Anyways.
Did you figure it out?
No, Vicky, definitely didn't figure it out. Like, what the fuck? The chat can hear you, just so you know.
I know.
And the chat can hear me, so I don't know what your issue was. Anyways.
I get nothing on the video.
TJ. All right, so look, here in his second chance, he's also promoting the figures.
Okay,
right?
So maybe that was it. I thought it was Rainbow.
Well, but the figures aren't Shadowband, though. That's the thing.
So, yeah, so it doesn't fit because it's not
all
consistent.
The examples don't fit, right? When you start digging into the individual cases and you're like, okay, this is the formula you want us to follow. And you promoted a campaign since October that was not the campaign that you're sending the update from. That's a violation. And you're past 3 months of fulfilling while you're in demand. You can find a ton of examples that don't fit.
But other people are shadow banned too.
Yeah, well, the shadow banning is kind of random. It's almost like, there's these terms of service, but somebody has to go and report them. There isn't an algorithm picking them out.
No,
there's
it's not
an individual.
An algorithm.
There's an individual saying,
let me explain.
You're in violation of the terms of service.
As a company, hold on.
Term of service. Right. So there's 14. So in the HTML,
I love this
cascading
part.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah.
There.
The HTML spreadsheet is so awesome.
Yeah.
Explains it. It's so great. But
it's funny because like they're like it can't be an AI, and it's like, well then what did they purchase the AI for, or the services of this AI that they're using? But it can't be that. It has to be an individual. And for like, you haven't found any holes.
Well, they had Vestige.
They thought.
Yeah.
For some reason, when all they had to do was literally just go to Vestige on Indiegogo to realize they were wrong.
But then there's CyberFrog.
But there isn't CyberFrog.
There's Ethan's campaigns, Dean.
Yeah. And like
I know.
They're Shadowband. Yeah, the toy one isn't. So what? The other ones are.
Yeah, we can talk about that part a little bit later too. Yeah. It has to be a one person, or as Twitless later goes on to complain about it, it's a committee, and anything by committee must be bad. But how do we know it's by committee?
I mean, we don't.
They make more assumptions about this than I think we did during our stream.
No, we showed things to back it up. They're just, I don't know. There's something, and it's not smart.
So there's 14. So in the HTML, in this cascading spreadsheet, there's 4 lines of code, and those lines of code seem to be like 0 to 100.
Right.
And so it seems to be some type of in the cascading spreadsheet of the HTML that is inside of Indiegogo. There seems to be 4 types of
I mean, we know how
things that people get penalized at. So
we know how the shadow
someone
banning
will
works.
be like 80%, and so if someone's at like 50 or 60%, they won't show up in the search algorithm. But if they're like 80 or 90% or above, they turn up in the search algorithm.
We know how the shadow banning is implemented through the HTML, through those tags.
Now what you're doing.
The problem is that the terms of service that Vicky and Dean are claiming were violated and an algorithm picked out don't apply in every case. They have a handful.
I love the explanation.
So, I mean, I do just have to pause it there. But it's like that Vicky and Dean claim happened, the TOS violations. It's like, no, they definitely happened.
No,
we showed the TOS rules, and then we showed where they were in violation. It's not really a claim. It's just a fact well read.
Yeah.
Furthermore, Indiegogo can choose at their sole discretion, as is in their terms of service, what they decide to do, or if they decide to do anything at all.
Yeah.
About violations.
They don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything at all.
I think they're under the assumption that if an AI does exist, that the AI chooses the punishment.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're assuming.
When in reality, the AI could just tag things for somebody to decide at their sole discretion. We don't know that, but we do know there's an AI, and we do know that these campaigns broke TOS.
Yes.
And those are just facts.
Well, if you're
right, but not all the time. And if it's an algorithm, the algorithm is unbiased. It's just doing it for everybody.
Yeah.
That is also just really, really dumb to say. No, the AI definitely has a bias. It's there to pick up on certain behaviors that are breaking TOS. It's just that simple, man.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Anyway, okay, go ahead.
Nothing. That was
I just discovered something, but it can wait for a minute. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the AI isn't the one making the final decision. They bring it to somebody's attention. It gets flagged. It probably shows up on somebody's computer in a list. And
or maybe the AI does decide.
If it's a simple enough case.
You know, we don't know that.
We don't know. But their assumption is that it has to be, and that just isn't necessarily correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the 3 active campaigns that are being run, that are Ethan's campaigns. So you have the Electric Blue Cyber Frog action figures. You have the Second Chance Wrecked Planet campaign. And of course you have Rainbow Brute, right? Now, what what I did find kind of interesting is Indiegogo chose to shadow ban the 2 campaigns that have brought in the most money out of the 3. I noticed that when I was taking screenshots today.
That is
and I just
interesting.
thought that was really weird. Yeah. We'll go ahead to the next one. This is the terms of service regarding the in-demand and fulfilling your campaign within 90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. We showed that during our original streams, so. Whoops, I almost closed the window. This is the, oh, goodness gracious, I'm a little behind. This is the first wave CyberFrog action figure campaign that, and the very last update is for the new CyberFrog action figure campaign, the one that's open currently. That campaign has a shit. I just lost my window. Oh my God, I'm beginning to hate my own computer. That campaign has a fulfillment date of
You got this, Vicky.
I know. June, or had an original fulfillment date of June 2020. So July, August, September. It is now 2 months overdue. And the fulfillment date changed today to June 2023. Because I'm looking at it now. That's the new campaign date changed to 2023. So this campaign, which is already closed, right? So what's the point in shadow banning it? You can't give it more money. He changed the fulfillment date.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one is the second chance for CyberFrog 2 Wrecked Planet campaign. This is the last update. Also for the CyberFrog action figure campaign, the new one.
Yeah.
At least I think I can't imagine he would be doing the second one. And I just gotta say here real quick, this action figure of Heather Swain, even the new ones, because these are the old ones and the new ones, they're just all fucking nightmare fuel. I just had to add that personal note, which is the only reason it's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Snowman, a cold day in hell.
Yes.
Snowman update.
This is this is the 4th campaign being run by Ethan. So he actually has 4 open campaigns, 3 in demand and 1 that is still active. This campaign was due last year, and its last update was in July. So it wouldn't have caught any attention. And so long as he sits there, it's still in demand, but so long as it just sits there and nobody's paying attention to it, and probably if he doesn't update it from another campaign or draw attention to it in any way, shape, or form, it'll probably be okay.
For now, at least, I'd imagine.
At least for
until
now.
like they start.
Until they start going back through old campaigns. Currently, they're only doing new, it seems that the AI is only looking at newer campaigns, right?
Probably given pretty basic parameters.
Yeah. And then, I gotta close one of these fucking windows. This is driving me nuts. Of course, we have the Rainbow, the Brute campaign. This one, only has 3 updates, right? The first one from December of 2020, which is right when it started. The second one wasn't until April 10 of 2021, well over a year ago. And the last one was November 6, 2022. Now, this campaign is not cross-promoted anywhere. On any other campaign, none of them mention Rainbow the Brute. And I believe both Well-Read and Moonshine made a point of saying that this campaign had been cross-promoted on another one. And it wasn't. Literally, the only thing that happened with this campaign was an update. There was no other reason for this campaign to catch any attention, right? He may have gotten a couple backers, but backers trickle in on in-demand campaigns forever. I mean, Jesus Christ, that Monster MD was still getting new backers right up until the time it fulfilled over a year late.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't be surprised if people are stupid enough to still be backing Shinobi Sasquatch. But yeah, so really the only thing that would have caught the attention for this, unless they've, that AI system, I'm assuming just flagged shit, right? And I wouldn't expect them to shadow ban all of Ethan's campaigns yet. For all we know, when the Electric Blue CyberFrog action figure campaign finally finishes up, and it has 5 days left if any of you really want that Nightmare Fuel Heather Swain. But be advised that as of today, and this only happened within the last few hours, the fulfillment date has been removed from the campaign.
Oh, no.
Now, the reason I checked was they showed it on screen on Well-Read stream. So you guys can go check it out and see that there is a date there. But there's not anymore. So if I'm wrong...
And I know that Ethan said he's...
If I'm wrong, why the fuck is Ethan removing the fulfillment date from the campaign?
Because he's going to be late?
Because he's going to be late as fuck.
All right.
The first wave CyberFrog, he just moved them a year out. A year. Like, that's fucking crazy. I'm sorry. 7 months. But it's a year from the original date. Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, let's get into the FrogG stuff.
Okay.
So apparently there's this debate about why is Comicsgate...
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, these are the guys he bought in Comicsgate, whatever, all this, the whole shit. But if I'm running a company and I'm seeing, you can talk about Cecil Book, Cash Grab, you can talk about all these, we ain't talking about 3 months, 4 months late, we're talking about years. And if you got all these campaigns that's making all of this money and they haven't fulfilled and they're still in demand, at some point, if you don't know them, I don't know how the interaction works with them and their direct line to the company and they go or whatever. But at some point, you got to say, hold on, dog, you're giving us a bad name. If you're going to do it, cool. But at some point, I got to like close the door, but I ain't closing the door. I'm just not going to make it where the people can just keep coming and giving you money. And I don't even know if you're going to do what you're supposed to do.
No, it is true. Indiegogo does say if you go in demand, you must deliver within 3 months of your estimated date.
So what the fuck are they crying about then?
When GJ is the voice of fucking reason.
Right? Well, yes, technically.
Yeah.
Technically, they did say, technically, it is in violation. Technically, all of these campaigns are kind of fucked up in one sense or another as far as Indiegogo's rules go. But, that's not why they're being shadow banned.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, they shouldn't if that's true. But that's not true of all things. Like Vestige 3 did nothing wrong, and yet somehow it's shadow banned.
We
we
showed where you were just really, really
full
dumb.
of shit.
Really dumb. Stir.
And
well,
FrogG
so this sounds
Yeah.
wait, TG, let me get to my point. This sounds similar to when Sargon was banned off of Patreon, and that was because of things he did elsewhere. Now, Ro, I think
look,
obviously.
If I say I'm down with you,
I'm not
right?
done yet, DJ. I'm not done yet.
No, I don't give a fuck.
TJ,
I don't give a
I'm
fuck.
not done yet.
TJ, let Moonshine make
If you're going to talk over me, I'm going to talk over you.
We have a topic. We got a topic tonight. Let us get
They
through
have a topic, Dean.
It seems to me because Ro is a bit controversial on YouTube, that is the most obvious reason why Vestige 3 would be shadow banned.
They probably don't even know about his YouTube. Nor do they give a shit.
Right. It's all, every campaign was in violation of Indiegogo's terms of service, but it's all because he's controversial on YouTube.
Yeah.
Really? How does that work?
Who knows?
I don't know either. So they started talking about FrogG, right? And it was because of somebody in the chat, that little Andalino guy who's a bit of a dipshit. And FrogG, because, and like I said during our stream, I made the same mistake, right? I thought, okay, I've got this list of people who are on, a second, third, fourth, in Ethan's case, 22nd fucking campaign. And there's FrogG. It's his first campaign. There's no way the cross promotion thing fit. And it wasn't until I stopped long enough to actually go look at the Indiegogo when I saw that the campaign owner is Jason Bascom. It's not FrogG, because, I guess FrogG doesn't want us to know his real name. I don't know. It's Jason Bascom. And I like Jason personally. I've spoken to him and I think he's a really nice guy and he does really cool art. But he has 3 campaigns. He had Unhinged Entertainment Presents Absolute Book 1, Absolute Book 2, and now FrogG Voodoo Gods and Magic. And the last update on Absolute Book 2 included a link to FrogG. So
dun dun dun.
So there's these 2 books and these 3 creators that don't fit into what you're saying. Is just flat out fucking wrong. It just is.
Yeah.
Now Ethan, granted, the Electric Blue Cyberfrog campaign action figure, whatever, isn't shadow banned yet. But his other 2 are, and it's the 2 that made him the most money. It's the ones that he's still, obviously if he's starting to promote them again, they expect them to get backers again. Right?
Yeah.
And they're making that more difficult for him.
Yeah. Now,
well, go ahead.
There is one thing in the chat, Vicky, I do want to address.
Okay.
Someone please answer why IGG would be messing with the biggest moneymakers for them. It makes no sense. They're not.
They're not.
Not even by a long shot. And
let me put
also, they're trying to guarantee that people will continue to go to Indiegogo and back things. This is a fraud prevention system that they have in place.
They're looking towards the future, for one. They need to ensure consumer confidence.
Which right now, on crowdfunding sites, there isn't any.
Yeah. And two, there is a cat litter box that has made more than Ethan's active campaigns. Right now, funding on Indiegogo, a kitty litter box.
Yeah, this isn't even like the tip of the iceberg for Indiegogo.
That has made almost 700K. It's made more than Shad versus Shadows of the Conqueror book, I think. I mean, I haven't kept up with that, I'm assuming. Right? So it's made more than all but one comic book on Indiegogo. A kitty litter box.
And that's just one example. That's not like the biggest.
That's not even the biggest example. Go over to the tech sector, man. Those campaigns make big money.
Yeah. This isn't even shit to Indiegogo. Money.
This is shit to Indiegogo. They have made around maybe $400,000 in the last 2 years off of Comicsgate. Right? Total. That's all Comicsgate campaigns. And that's a drop. That's a tiny drop in a big ass fucking bucket for Indiegogo. Yes. A cat shit load of money is not coming in. I'm sorry. Now, to me, $400,000 seems like a lot of money. And I'm sure to most of you sitting there, it probably does too. But for a multi-million-dollar corporation over the course of 2 years, that's nothing. They could do without Comicsgate. It's barely going to make a dent in their bottom line. And if the creators in Comicsgate can't abide by the terms of service, if they can't help Indiegogo ensure consumer confidence, because removing your fulfillment date from your active campaign and changing another fulfillment date out another year is not building consumer confidence. Now, I don't know if Ethan is Wave CyberFrog campaign, but if he isn't, right, and people decide to play hardball and go to their credit card company and charge that back, that goes through Stripe. And then Stripe, they have their own AI that does fraud, that looks for fraud. And that's one of the flags. And that affects Indiegogo. It affects Indiegogo's relationship with their own payment processors, because their payment processors are like, what kind of fraud are you allowing over there? So yeah, this isn't about Comicsgate. It's not about it's not about groups of SJWs roaming through Indiegogo, making accounts just so they can report all the Comicsgate campaigns because they don't like Ethan. It has nothing to do with that. Who the hell cares about what SJW out there cares about FrogG? Right? What SJW out there cares about the American Bliss comic? None. But all of them are in one way or another in violation of the terms of service.
True. But what do you think of Pumafist saying you're being dishonest when you say that CG has made 400K on IGG in the last 2 years.
I looked the numbers up, Pumafist.
Yeah, actually, that's like her thing. She keeps
it's my thing. I keep track of the money coming into Comicsgate, and I have since 2018, 2019. Right? That's how I know who's late, who's on time, who's doing what, how much money it makes. You know, comics.
She's got like a whole little Excel thing.
Yeah, I've got spreadsheets on spreadsheets on top of spreadsheets. I can sort that shit by launch date, whether it's active. I can tell you how much the campaigns for the last 2 years have made just in demand versus how much they made when the campaign was open. I mean, it doesn't take that much time, Lester Dog. It's not that I have no life, but I find
but
it
that
interesting.
Is true. She doesn't.
I start digging, and then the next thing you know, I'm compiling data, you know, and I like data. Data is what's allows you to tell fucking Well-Read and Moonshine that they're full of fucking shit.
All right, we got one last clip, guys.
This is when it all turns into a shit show on Well-Read's channel, by the way.
Vicky and Dean are, galaxy brains, and they think it's an AI, and they think that they've cracked the code. We're saying that their argument doesn't really apply. I mean, look how clearly this example violates their argument. Like, this is a really, prominent campaign, CyberFrog. You're going to get a big hit. He's done 22 campaigns on Indiegogo. You go down here, October 19, just recently, he's sending out an update for another campaign. He's got a link for that campaign in the update. If an AI can't pick this out to shadowban this campaign, and so here, it brings up the CyberFrog figures, and then you go into the search. The definition of being shadow banned is that you won't come up in the search. I mean, there's other, lesser definitions, but that's the biggest one. It's the first one. And it comes up. It's the first hit.
I love the lesser definitions. There's lesser definitions of being shadow banned. Well, there's being shadow banned, and then there's being tagged as non-promotable. And we can't tell if you're tagged as non-promotable anymore.
Yeah.
Because everybody started talking about it, and everybody's, it got back to IGG, I guess. Probably somebody demanding from support, wanting to know why they were tagged as non-promotable. And so there you go. They've moved all of that code offsite.
Yeah. I like how their argument is, well, why isn't EVS more shadow banned than he already is? Because he is on his other campaigns. But just so you know, the reason is because they decide what punishment they give you at their sole discretion.
And not only that, but the campaign he's showing is the Second Chance Wreck Planet campaign, which is shadow banned.
Also,
and I never said
if this was a thing about targeting CG creators and it has to be that, well, then why isn't that shadow banned?
Why isn't everything that Ethan has out there shadow banned? Right?
Like, their argument is straight up retarded.
And my argument was never that that it only shadow bans the one you promoted when you cross promoted. That was never my argument.
But that it just happens to be one of the things.
Well, on the smaller, Ethan is the only person in Comicsgate that has 4 fucking active campaigns. Right? Everybody else, they do one campaign. They may have one in demand and open another one, maybe. But generally, 97% probably of the campaigns, Dark Gift doesn't count. He has more than one. But, sometimes Mandy has 2. Sometimes Richard Meyer Now he doesn't even do that anymore. He mostly just closes campaigns. But sometimes, he'll have 2 campaigns, one in demand and one active. But Ethan's the only one that has multiple campaigns. Right? So most of the people on the list only have one active fucking campaign. So that's the one that got shadow banned. Ethan has 4, and one of them's already non-promotable. It doesn't show up on any of the front pages. The Snowman, Cold Day in Hell. And so 2 of Ethan's campaigns got shadow banned. 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Somebody made a decision not to shadow ban the other one. That's all. Anyway.
Yeah.
Who else do we have?
J Money, you give us your opinion.
Dark Gift, help us out.
What's the argument?
Wrangle.
Hello, Anthony.
Let me make one point real quick. So the first wave CyberFrog campaign, he did cross promote the Electric Blue CyberFrog campaign, right? But it's already closed. The Electric Blue CyberFrog campaign hasn't cross promoted anything. So it's completely that campaign so far hasn't done anything wrong. I don't know what's going to happen now that, I personally think that removing your fulfillment date is really fucked up. Personally.
But is it against TOS?
I do not believe it's against TOS.
Well, there you go.
I just think it's a bad move, right? I don't think they're going to do anything to him about that. That campaign right now isn't violating any sort of terms of service.
Huh.
The Rainbow the Brute campaign, obviously, in violation of terms of service of the 90 days past fulfillment for an in-demand campaign, because it's still in demand.
Yeah.
Or at least it was this afternoon.
All right.
Right. So
I have to give the argument again. Okay, so Vicky and Dean did a stream about the shadow banning on Indiegogo.
Okay.
I love how Dark Gift
You got
comes
that?
in
They posit
just
that
cold. He got no idea what the fuck's going on, but he hops in that stream and he's ready, and he's got his opinion ready.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, except for Cider.
Oof.
Yeah.
Reason most of them are happy. And there's another piece of it, but we'll just not talk about that so it's less confusing. That people are promoting new campaigns and old campaigns, which technically is against the terms. They have an algorithm that catches campaigns and shadow bans them if that happens.
Once again, never said
I kind of caught part
shadow
of it.
ban people.
Yeah, never said that. But Puma Fist has been asking this question, Vicky. I know you don't look at the chat.
I am looking at the chat. I was just gonna wait.
He really, really, really wants to know.
Mike Barron's book, The Private American, is being shadow banned because the previous campaign cross-promoted Mike Barron's book. I covered that last Thursday, Puma Fist. You can go back and watch the stream.
All right.
I missed that part of the stream though. What was that they're promoting?
So, for example, let's say in your Hunting Alice campaign, which is late, you say, "Hey, I have Lightbringer. Go back that." That's technically against the terms of service, and you may be shadow banned for doing.
Let me simplify for you. Let me simplify for you, DJ. Let me simplify for you.
No, hold on, TJ.
He's almost got it. He's almost got it. Give him a minute, TJ.
Okay, so all right, so I don't know about that because
shut up, you fucking black man.
I didn't do it very often, but in some of the Hunting Alice updates, it was basically a copy and paste from my newsletter, which did have things for like Lightbringer and Pariah in it.
Probably haven't done it in the last couple of months, have you?
It's everything since October.
Yeah, they posit something turned on like around October that's been catching campaigns since.
No, we showed.
I haven't done it in October.
No. The services. We showed it. Like, that's just a fact. And then all of a sudden, these things happen, and that AI is specifically designed
to do what it's doing.
To do this exact thing. Just crazy.
But Dark Gift hasn't updated, so he, so far he's in the clear.
Good for him.
Yeah.
It seems like
Yeah. I know.
Anyway, point is that, before we get into the whole like AIs and algorithms and stuff, the real danger word here is that there's a committee. Okay, and that's like the worst like word you could ever hear when there's a committee that's going to like
the danger's already done.
People.
Wait, but who said committee?
I guess they're calling the Trust and Safety Council, or I don't even know if they call it the Trust and Safety Council. It's just Trust and Safety. It's a division of.
Why is that an issue?
Because committees are bad. They decide.
This is a company, guys.
This
is unlike a social media website where you can complain about like your speech. This is a company.
Right. Yeah. Well, committees are bad. We've all seen what happens in the government.
It just such a dumb thing. Like, this is a company. You agreed. That agreement is a contract. You agreed to follow these rules, right? You agreed to it. And then if you break it, you are violating those rules.
Yes.
And you don't have a right to speech when you're doing business with a company. Your freedom of speech isn't a thing. This is
on their platform.
Not on their platform. This is a business. This isn't Twitter. This isn't like
Facebook.
What are you?
And even then, be real. But yeah, this is, they're trying to conduct business and they want people to come back.
Just so dumb.
It's why they don't allow hate speech, right? It's why they have a list of things that you can't do. Gambling, hate speech. You can't sell medical supplements. Oh, that's an FDA thing, right? You can't have names of your campaigns that sound like dietary supplements. I mean, like, there's a bunch of rules and things that they prohibit you from doing. You can't just put up a campaign page that has words that they find objectionable, like, I wouldn't be writing a campaign page with every other word being fuck. Or you're not allowed to depict violence. And that's a lot of comics. I don't have a problem with it, but Indiegogo does.
And you agreed to, follow the rules.
And you agreed to that. And not only is it on your campaign page, not only are you not allowed to have that on your campaign page, but you can't have it in your trailers linked to on your campaign page. No, you can't, Jay Dalla. No, you can't. It's right there in the terms of service.
Oh, you can, but then you get Shadowband, Jay Dalla. And that's why you idiots are in this position.
That's exactly what it is. Prohibited
yeah, you can.
content
Yeah, no,
and
you have the ability to, sure.
Gambling, drugs or alcohol, investment or profit sharing, harassment or hate speech, any form of degradation, subjugation, discrimination, or hatred against individuals or groups based on race, ethnic origin, religion, disability, gender, age, veteran status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. No nudity or sexually explicit content, graphically violent content promoting any forms of violence, weapons, ammunition, and related accessories, human or animal remains, air transportation and raising funds for aircrafts, no political campaigns, no health and wellness or dietary supplements. Not only that, you can't link to shit like that from your campaign page, which it doesn't just mean another web page, it means a video. So yeah, Jay Dalla, I'm sorry, but you know,
wait, Jay Dalla, you guys could try Kickstarter.
Yeah. And we already discussed the big money, and there ain't no big money for
Not from
Indiegogo
Comicsgate.
and
It's
Comicsgate.
Crowdfunding is so much bigger than your stupid comic books.
You know,
on Indiegogo.
You're in such a bubble. Such a bubble. You see a campaign from Ethan that made $1.2 million, and you think that frickin' Indiegogo can't live without the 5% of that? $50K or something like that off the top of my head? That's nothing for them. They don't give a fuck. All they want is you to come onto their platform and abide by the rules that you contracted with them and agreed to. Yeah. It's not hard.
Really isn't.
No, I didn't miss it. Go to fucking Kickstarter then.
But what's really funny, I mean, you can say not everyone shows any of that you just spoke out. Well, then give me an example.
I can give you an example of somebody showing depictions of violence in a trailer on their campaign page. Right off the top of my head.
No, Graveyard Shift. J Dollar.
Graveyard Shift Omega Storm. Right there. Smack dab in the beginning of the fucking trailer is a woman who sitting in a chair who's been decapitated.
Blam now, against TOS.
Anybody really want to argue that that's not a depiction of graphic violence? Really? No, I don't have a problem with it, but it's a depiction of graphic fucking violence. I have yet to see Indiegogo do anything to anybody for political opinions. As a matter of fact, I have yet to see...
it is against their rules to do a political
political campaign. But
that's
they don't
about
care what you do off of their platform. They don't give a fuck. If they gave a fuck, then there are certain people on their platform that wouldn't be on their fucking platform. Right? If they were some left-wing, company that really gave a crap about anybody's political opinion off platform, most of Comicsgate wouldn't be allowed on there. Sorry.
Yep. Pretty much.
Okay, go ahead and keep going, because this is just funny. The rest of it.
We're going to decide what is going to be allowed and what's not going to be allowed. And some of those people are probably black holing things because we don't want that. So that's, if we're pushing theories here, like that's where I would put my money.
Yes.
Here's
my question with all this. And this has nothing really to do with what Vicky and Dean said, because there's a bunch of theory. This conversation has been going on for what, 2 weeks now, maybe longer.
Mm-hmm.
So
people are losing money. That's the problem.
No, I get that. And so my question is, and there's like everybody's got like their own theory of what's going on, and like so my question that I was trying to say is, I know EVS mentioned last night that, and Shane even said like that Inglorious Rex, which was previously Shadowband, wasn't as of last night. So if Twitless's theory is that there's the new committee, which some people think that's the issue. Why would they unrelease the Shadowman? Is it because people are talking about it? Like how far down this rabbit hole are we going to go?
How about this?
Hold on, no, wait. Hold on.
That right there. I don't know what Dark Gift is talking about here, because Shane Davis's Inglorious Rex 2 is still Shadowband. So the whole question is sort of moot.
Yeah.
Right? None of the campaigns that have been shadow banned via a no index tag have been unshadow banned. And there have not been any new ones since Thursday, by the way.
I'm asking a legitimate question.
Can I throw an
it don't matter. It doesn't matter.
All right, TJ, if you're not going to answer the question, let somebody else answer the question.
Because the question.
So, Luster Dog, I actually cut out all of TJ's just going on. Like, TJ got
You're just getting to see them frustrated at TJ.
TJ,
But
yeah.
he did talk a lot.
He talked a lot. Yeah.
Money's turn. He's got his hand up.
Yeah.
I have an asterisk.
All right, go for it.
Kickstarter and Indiegogo, they have the same people who was judging and critiquing comics on Kickstarter. They formed a coalition with Indiegogo about a year ago in October. So it's about a year or two old, I'd say. And so how the conversation was going just a minute ago, and what the code was showing earlier from Bancroft and earlier, there's clearly a coding system in the cascading spreadsheet, which is the CSS of the HTML. And there is clearly a judge and a number rating system from 0 to 10,000 that decides whether or not you fucking show up on the webpage during searches. It's as simple as that. And I think if you have older campaigns, those campaigns are kind of left alone, and you have newer ones being affected. So
that's the only thing J Dollar got right.
Back and forth about shadow banning, but it's not until recently, like with FrogG.
First off, J Dollar, I know you're a little twisted in this clip, but it's cascading style sheet that actually affects the look of a web page, not the actual code that you were talking about. And what it was it was called the go-go factor. And we covered this a couple of weeks ago on our stream. And the go-go factor was a combination of things which included, updating your campaign, being responsive to your comments, on your campaign. It included how much money you made. It also included how many referrals you sent to Indiegogo via your personal referral link, right? That code is no longer visible. That is the code that said whether or not a campaign was promotable. It's sort of a soft shadow ban. It's not really a shadow ban because you were still searchable on the site, but you wouldn't end up on their front page. There's no reason. Most of the non-promotable campaigns were all closed campaigns, or campaigns that had been on the site for well over a year, right? None of the non-promotable campaigns, most of them, aside from Mandy's, and I know why that happened, but nobody's going to believe me. And so most of the non-promotable campaigns were old campaigns, right? There were a couple that happened. What we're actually talking about is the no index tag, not your percentile of go-go factor. Your percentile of go-go factor only got you knocked off of the front page of Indiegogo. Your no index tag makes your campaign page not searchable on Indiegogo and also keeps you from being included in web searches such as Google and Bing. That is how that works. Your inebriation is not a tool. It's a hindrance, doo-doo. All right. So, but the only thing you did get right was the fact that it's not bothering with old campaigns yet. It's only bothering with campaigns that have some sort of state change since the middle of October, whether that's the campaign extended, a campaign ended, a campaign updated, anything along those lines.
Yeah.
Or start it.
Yeah, I do think that companies can discriminate based on political biases, but I don't think that's what happened here because there's literally
no evidence
of that. But we do have evidence that they purchased the services, once again, of an AI that is solely designed for prevention of fraud, and that after they purchased that, all of these campaigns, which we showed violated TOS, started to get shadow banned.
And J Dollar, it's not what I think; it's what I can actually show.
It's what we did show. Go back and watch.
Go back and watch last Thursday. Go watch it and don't just talk at your ass on Well Read show, because we showed it. I showed the list of the 14 campaigns that are shadow banned that have the no index tag on Indiegogo. I showed them all and I went through why it happened. And the only thing that they had in common were those date ranges and state changes on their campaigns. Or, yeah, pretty much. That's what they literally all had in common. That was the starting point. And then I had to figure out what caused it. And what caused it was a term of service violation.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they fucking have in common, aside from being Comicsgate. But if they were going after Comicsgate, then there would be no real pattern there would be no pattern in the dates. There would be
everybody
no real pattern
in CG would be
how they
shadow
violated.
banned. Like if they were going after Comicsgate, first of all, all of Ethan's campaigns would be shadow banned. And all of CG would be shadow banned.
But they're not.
But they're not, guys.
All right.
Shane and other motherfuckers like that. So that's my asterisk.
Yeah. Shane promoted Inglorious Rex 2 on his last campaign. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So did Lepresti. So did John Malin. I mean,
it's pretty simple stuff, guys.
It's not that complicated. And Comicsgate wants it and needs it to be far more complicated and far more,
cynical?
Sinister.
Yeah.
I think is really the word I'm looking for. Right? It can't be because people in Comicsgate fucked up. It can't be because people in Comicsgate decided, to not pay attention to the terms of service. It can't be because they'd just been taking advice from each other and suddenly realize that the people they're taking advice from don't know shit about what they're talking about. It has to be some outside force. As Well Read put it, there's a group of them. Totally implying that it was me, right? There's this group of people out there and they're just reporting Comicsgate campaigns for the fuck of it. Well, shit, man. It goes back to if you're not doing anything wrong and you get reported, you don't really have much to worry about now, do you? Anyway, so that's where I'm at.
I'm just confused on what is their argument on this AI that they definitely purchased to, do this exact thing?
Well, their argument is that the AI, since they're not disagreeing with the AI per se, but what they're saying is the AI is the one shadow banning people. And what I think is actually going on is the AI is combing through and they're flagging campaigns, and then people look at them and they go, yeah, that's a fucking violation of the TOS. What should we do? And they shadow ban. They're not kicking you off. That they could kick every single one of those people off the platform. They could today.
There'd also, I just want to let you know, Critical Blast, there'd also be no mystery if you idiots read the TOS before you decided to do business with the company. There'd definitely be no confusion or mystery.
Yeah, because what do they tell you? They tell you go read the TOS.
You
They're
all
not
were
there
too
to hold
stupid
your
to do it.
hand, right? Like, they're not there to hold your hand. You should be able to figure that shit out yourself. I figured out Roe violating TOS 3 years ago now. 2 years ago. 3. It is 3 years now. Right? It's not that fucking hard. The terms of service and the community guidelines for Indiegogo are very easy to read. There's nothing confusing about them. You know? There's nobody working there with some sort of bias, or you'd see a lot more. You would actually see campaigns being kicked off the platform if there was if it was all about bias.
Yeah. Then they should
Not
quit
just
taking their 5%. Well, then you should get off their platform.
What
are you talking about?
It's not their job to hold your hand. It's not their job to promote you. That is explicitly written in the terms of service as well. What they want from creators is to be bringing people into their platform. They want creators to be out there working their own asses off. They want creators to be doing things like Michael Bancroft's doing, where he went and he created his own fucking mailing list instead of doing what Mandy Summers did and expect Indiegogo to generate it from her pre-launch so she could send people over to her own personal store. Which, by the way, is against terms of service. Bancroft didn't do that. He's got that mailing list. I think he still got it in the description of every single one of his videos. Right? He's created a website.
You're not.
Hey,
okay, wait,
SEO.
Vicky.
Yes.
I think we get your point. But there's a couple things I'm going to address. It seems to be their job. They're deciding what someone makes with rules they make out of thin air. They're not out of thin air. You're just too stupid to read, J Dollar.
They've been on their website since the beginning.
The question is whether or not their funding service is worth 5%. Well, you agree that it is worth it when you decide to use Indiegogo and agree to their terms of service that most people don't read because I don't know why. It's a really dumb thing not to. What's the alternative? Well, most of these people don't actually need crowdfunding, and the alternative are other crowdfunding sites for the ones that do. Simple as that. Nothing IGG has on their website page changes what a person decides to make. Okay? Who cares about the TOS and community guidelines? Well, Indiegogo does, and that's why you guys are getting shadow banned.
I mean,
it's all pretty simple stuff, guys.
The terms of service and the community guidelines are there, 1, to protect Indiegogo legally, 2, to make sure that creators know what is expected of them. If you can't be asked to read it, then fucking hell, J Dollar. Right? And 3, so they can continue to keep their website going by making their own payment processors happy and ensure to their payment processors that their site isn't full of fucking scammers.
Yeah. We can crowdfund without them. We already are.
No, you're not.
Well, I mean, some people are. Yeah. No, some people are.
No. Well, Ripa did.
Well,
okay.
Vicky.
He's not
first of all,
gay.
Ripa isn't CG.
Right. That's
secondly,
what I
I believe John Della Rose is on Kickstarter.
Yes. Go to Kickstarter with JDA. But that's not crowdfunding on your own. Mandy's not crowdfunding on her own. She used fucking Indiegogo to create her mailing list. That's not on her own.
Indiegogo are apparently now the most noble and righteous website in existence. That's not what I said.
That's not what we said at all.
We're just saying that you're stupid if you don't read the TOS and then violate it and then cry about it. And then act like it has to be some giant conspiracy.
Exactly.
That's
fucking
retarded.
Twitless didn't even crowdfund his comic. He created that comic himself. He paid for it all himself. And then he went to a site, and I'm sorry, Twitless, I can't remember which one it is, or I would promote it for you. And they do print on demand for him. You could do print on demand on Amazon. People can do this. Ethan has made enough money. He shouldn't have to crowdfund anymore. John Malin has made enough money. He shouldn't have to crowdfund anymore. But John Malin and Ethan don't want to accept the actual risk of doing business. That's why they crowdfund. They crowdfund so that the risk isn't on them. It's on their backers.
I don't think that actually
John Malin
matters.
admitted it.
No. But I don't think that matters if people are stupid enough to be the risk, to put the risk on themselves. True. That doesn't actually matter. What matters is there isn't a giant conspiracy.
Yes. There is.
You guys just broke TOS. Because you're all too stupid to read, yet want to make books.
And use their site. I mean, it's that simple. There you go. I think we're done.
So good luck, guys. Try to be less stupid in the future.
Good luck with that.